So there's been some questions about how to pronounce warm and worm. So I encourage you to watch this short video where you can see this lady's mouth and lips as she's pronouncing warm and worm.
Warm.
Okay, so I've slowed down her speech to 0.5 rather than the regular.
Warm.
Okay, so warm, and with an M, warm, and then
Worm. A worm likes warm weather. Worm. Worm.
okay, so to practice with the the or, and then the were. So here are some words that we'll go through to also continue to practice, and I'll read all three words in a row. So war, warm, ward. War, warm, ward. Or two, warp, warden, wart. Warp, warden, wart. Or three, dwarf, swarm, warn. Dwarf, swarm, warn. And number four, wharf, warren, warmth. That last one's a bit tricky. Wharf, warren, warmth. So we have the war, the M, and the TH. War, warmth. Okay, and then a couple of sentences. The scarf is quite warm. The scarf is quite warm. Did Warren fight in the war? Did Warren fight in the war? Or three, the swarm flies at warp speed. The swarm flies at warp speed. And number four, the dwarf has a wart on his nose. The dwarf has a wart on his nose. Now working on the worm sound. Worm, worth, work. Worm, worth, work. Row number two. World, worse, worst. World, worse, worst. So you can hear the main difference with the second and third word. I'm emphasizing the T at the end. Worst, worst. Number three, worry, word, worthy. Worry, word, worthy. Okay, and then some sentences. The warm scarf is worth a lot. The warm scarf is worth a lot. This wart gets worse and worse. This wart gets worse and worse. I worry about a warmer world. I worry about a warmer world. That is the worst word. That is the worst word. Number 5. Warren works as a warden. Warren works as a warden. Okay, so I encourage you to practice maybe on day 1. Just take 5 minutes and practice the warm sounds. War, 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 with the words and sentences. Then on the next day, practice the worm, worth, work sounds, words and sentences. And then on day 3, then practice some of the war sounds, war, warmth, warp. And then right after that, go down and practice some of the worm, worth, work. And so that way, each day you're just taking a couple of minutes, but you're understanding, practicing warm sounds. Next day, whir sounds. And then the third day, a combination and both those words and sentences. And remember, it's not going to occur instantly. It's going to take some practice and some work, but regularly over the next 2 to 3 weeks, I know that you'll be able to pronounce those words more clearly.